Hello, the purpose of this video is I will explain in this video how I make this Trello Kanban project. We will see the demo and also we will see the code how these things are working. And this is the readme file where I am explaining that this project is used to manage tasks using Trello Kanban board, and I am using these tools to develop this project like a React.js, React Feather, local storage, and Typescript. These are the snapshot of this project. This is a home page and dashboard snapshot, and this is our task management where you can add or edit task detail. And these are the information. Using that information, you can install and start this project. And these are the future improvement. Okay, now we will install and start this project. For that purpose you just need to run this command in PowerShell or command prompt npm install, so it will install all your packages. Like in my case it already installed, so I just use npm start command. So let me start again. And this is the main layout of my project, which I will show after uh, the npm start command execution, and it will run on 3000 port. And this is the project. Here we are showing different boards. These are the boards, like 4 columns is like 4 boards, and each board has different tasks. Like this is task 1, this is task 2. These are 2 cards, and each card has a different task. Like when I am going to click on any task, and this is our task management which is showing different tasks. And whenever we will uncheck any task, you can see that it is also reflecting on the main card. Like you can see that. Also we can add any label. Like I'm going to add a new label as easy, and you can see that it is also reflecting on the main board. And we can also change the description, like task 12. You can see that it's changed the title of task, and also we can change the description like task 1 2 3. And for showing this description on this page, we can hover on this button, and you can see that it is showing the description of this task. Also we can change this date, like I can set is like 26. You can see that it's setting 26 May. And we can add a new task like task 2 3 4, and we can delete any task. You can see that it is also reflecting, and it is also showing the progress bar. Like we can see that it's showing about 20%, like 60% and 100%. We can uncheck all, and you can see that it is showing 0 of 3. And if we click on all, so it will showing 3 out of 3. This is about the task management. Now we will add a new board, and also we will add a new task. Like when we click on add board, it is asking about board name. Like I'm going to set it as staging. So it is added new board as a staging. And when I will add a new task like task staging underscore 1, so it added new task. Even we can change the title of it. You can see that this is also reflecting here. Also, we can move this task on another board. Like you can see that you can also add on another drag and drop on another board. So it will move on another board. Also, we will change the order of board task. You can see that. Also, we can delete this card or task, and also we can delete the whole board. Also, when there will be a more task, like in this case, it will also showing the scroll bar if there will be a more task on any column or board. Okay, this is all about the demo of project. Now we will see the code. This is our React project. For that purpose, I am using Typescript for whole project, and also I am using Prettify for formatting, and also I am using ESLint rule. And now we will see the demo. Like when we go to app.js, it will rendering the dashboard. Dashboard is this page, and it is put in this dashboard folder. This is our dashboard uh, component which is exist in home. So I am referring this dashboard page. When we will open this page, and it will showing different code. Like I will show you the code. Like it is showing how we are fetching data, how we can add these boards. These are boards. How we can remove board. Like this is our move board logic. This is add card handler, which will add new card. This is remove card logic. Like we can remove this card. We can update any card. Like when we click on any card and when we change any information, it will update the card. Also, when we select any task or card and move to another board, so it will call on drag end and on drag enter. When we select any card, so it will call on drag enter, and when we drop on any board, so it will call on drag end. We will discuss all these functions logic later on, and each time when our board information will change, so it will update our local storage, and this information is fetching from the local storage using this use effect. And also it is using fetch data. Fetch data is calling this fetch board list and getting data from mock API response. And also if mock API response not exist, so it will getting from local storage. So I am going to discuss it after opening this file. So this file is this function exists in API layer. So this is our Kanban board local storage key name, which is exist in application and local storage. You can see that this is a key which has all the boards and the tasks and other information in it. So I made a logic that if there will be a no key, like to show this logic, first I am going to delete all boards. For better understanding, and you can see that it's deleted all the boards. And when I delete this key, like when we deploy this project on any new machine, so it will check that if key is not exist, so it will fetch data from this mock response which exists in this file in API mock data and dummy data. This is a mock response which will fetch if there will be a no key. So it will fetch these data and add in Kanban task key. Like you can see that it is fetched all this data and insert in Kanban boards key in local storage. And if keys exist, then it will populate the latest information. Like if I delete this board and if I will refresh, it will store the last information in Kanban boards storage. Okay, now we will see how these things are working. Like when I go to API layer, so I am for fetching data, like for fetch board list, I am just using this board API class which has different methods. So like in this case I have a fetch board list method, so I am calling the method of this board API class. So what it will be doing that it will check that is our local storage name as Kanban board exist. If it will exist, so it will fetch the information of our local storage key value. Like in this case, this is the value which will get and store in local storage data. And after that, it is showing or returning to our dashboard component. Like you can see that it is calling fetch board list. So when we call this fetch board list, it will uh, get the local storage uh, object and return to the dashboard. After that, it is setting to the board, and after that it will display on our board. Like you can see that. And if our local storage don't have a key name as Kanban board, so what it will be doing that it will getting the data from API data which is exist in API mock response, which I already show that this is our API mock response mock data. So we can replace this mock response with our API. Like I already written a dummy code. Like when we get API from backend, so we can replace this code. So when we got data from mock response, so after that I am going to store in our local storage. Also I am returning this data to dashboard component. So this is our update local storage which is sending the board list, and you can see that this is sending the board list, and after that it is setting um, our object in this key. Okay, this is all about our API layer. So when we go to dashboard, so what I am doing that when I am going to fetch data from our local storage, so after that I am setting it to set board. So for that purpose I already make a interface. So this is our interfaces name as Kanban. So it has all of our interfaces. Like this is our main interface name as iBoard. So all of these columns are boards. So for that purpose I use iBoard uh, for its name, and it has a name, it has a ID, title and card. So this is our card. So all of these are card which is part of this iBoard, and these card exist are exists also a labels. So these are the labels. So also this card exists a task. These are the tasks. So you can say that this object is nested information. Like you can also see that these are the iPod which has a ID and title. You can see that ID and title. Also it has a card array. So it has a card array which has a also a nested labels and tasks array also. Labels and tasks array also. You can see that it has a labels and task also. So you can see that it's showing urgent and its color is mentioned. So it is getting data and also showing on UI, and also it is showing the task and also showing the status of it, that is completed or not. Using that this status we can show this number that 1 of 3 or 0 of 1 is completed or not. So this is all about our structure. So I define also iTask interface which has ID completed and text field, and same for the iLabel. For iLabel I did not add ID because most of the cases label will be unique, so I am considering text as a unique uh, value, so as a key. So we can also use ID, but in uh, our case we no need to use a ID. Okay, so I am going to again discuss our dashboard that I am using a board state, local state which is saving the all array of boards like 1 2 3. In this case it has a 3 array of iBoard, and I already discussed the interface of this iBoard. So what I am doing that after the fetching data from our API layer, I am setting it to set board. So when this board will set, so I am just displaying on our front end. Like you can see that. You can see that it is showing all the boards and their cards. For that purpose, I make a different component. Like I made a board component, and it has a nested. So first I am going to discuss that, like I am having a 4 board. So this loop will run for the 4 time and showing the 4 board, and each board has a nested information. Like when we go to a board, I will go to detail. First I am going to explain the structure. Like this board has a nested information, like it has a different sporting things like header and other information, and also these drop down and also different cards. Like you can see that it is also showing different cards. Like it will check that board number 1 has how many cards. So like in this case it has a 2 card. So this loop will run for the 2 time, and showing this card. Also it is showing this button using the custom input. I'm talking about this button. So I will discuss about these components in detail later. So also this card component has other um, component. Like when I click on any of this card, so it will showing the model. So I am showing this model using the help of this logic, and this card info has all the information about this model form. I will discuss it later. And also it is showing the card information which is showing on here. Like you can see that it is showing different permission delete card. Also it is showing the task length, and also it is showing the date. So I am going to discuss it in detail. So first I am going to go on board. Instead that board, first I am going to go on dashboard, which has a calling of this board component. So before discussing this board component, first I will discuss this custom input component. So for this project I need lot of buttons which has a functionality of text field, and after user will enter any information and click on add. So I need a component for this purpose, like when we click on any of card. And also you can see that this is using same component name as custom input. Also this is using the same component, this is also using same component, same for it. So I am using this component for lot of components, so that's why I make a generic logic as a custom input. So what I am doing, that it is sending different classes which is existing, and note that for each of component I have a separate CSS file. You can see that dropdown has a separate CSS file, and custom input has a CSS file, same for others. So when I go to this custom input, it is has a different classes, CSS classes. Okay, I'm going to discuss custom input. Okay, this is a custom input component which is showing two logics, that in a normal case it will show a paragraph tag and showing the text which we are sending from calling of this component. Like you can see that it is showing add board, and I am discussing about this add board component. It is showing add board which I am sending from this text, and it is showing the text. And what I am doing, that in start you can see that is custom input is false, so that why by default it is showing this UI, that it is showing a button name as add board, and I am making this button using the p tag, and I have a custom input display style in my custom input CSS file. You can see that. You can see that I am setting different styling, like background color, radius, padding, color, cursor. Like you can see that it is showing the pointer, so that's why I am using pointer. Also using width and different transaction setting and other sportive CSS information. And about this component, when user will click on this button, like this button, so the state of this variable is changed as a true. Consider is setting true. After the true, it will not show this uh, layout, it will show this form. Like you can see that when I'm going to click add button, add board button, it is showing the form which has a button add board, cancel, and a text field. You can see that it is showing the input text field. Also it is showing the X cross button. So for this whole project I am using a React Feather library, which is same like a material icons. For all of my project, I will use this library to getting different font icons. Like I am using this X icon, you can see that, and also I am using a button which is using a submit action. You can see that it has a button add board which is also using a button text. So you can see that I am using a component frog as a add board. So it is showing the add board. So we can change its value with respect to our requirement, and whenever user will mm, click on this button, so this submit will call and it will send to a parent. So parent will call their local function. So before that, I am going to explain about this submit, that when user will click on this button, so this on submit event will call and it will prevent the local mm, root functionality of submit button. Instead of reject, it will uh, go to this functionality and it will send the input text value. Like on each change I am going to update this set input text. Like you can see that whenever user will change any value, so it is updating set input text. So when we get this input text, it will have the latest text value. So I am just submitting to a parent. So like when user will type 123, and when user will hit it, it will go to a dashboard parent event name as add board handler, and it is getting the string. In this case the string is 123. It is getting the string 123, and after that it will add a new board in our existing board. So for that purpose, first it is getting our board array objects. Like I already explained that I am getting the data and setting it to a local state. So it is getting all the board array, and I am just uh, adding a new board in it. A new board, I am just adding ID, title or card. You already seen it interface that. You can see that. For new board, we require ID, title and card. For this case, I am just inserting an empty array for card. So in this case, first user will add a board. After that, it will add in card array. So I am just adding an ID as a random ID. For that purpose, I am getting a local current date, and also for uniqueness I am adding with a random number. So this random function will getting value from 0 to 1. So this is for the uniqueness, and when user will click on this add button, so it will make a new ID. Also it will name as 123, and card will be as the empty. After that it will update this board state, so it will reflect on this board. Like you can see that it will reflect on this board. So this is the purpose of our custom input. So I am using it for a different purpose. Okay, now come back to the board component. For all child component, I am using a parent for the main logics. You can see that I am sending all the functions as a prop. So whenever user will change anything on it, and after that it will call their parent function. Like in this case remove card has a remove card functionality, but this button will exist in the child components. So I will discuss later, but you can see the prop which I am using. Like I am using a key, and board is the item. Like it has a 4 board, and first board has a all information of this column, which will send to this board as an item. And add card, when user will click on this add card, so it will call this add card handler. Same for this remove board is for this delete board, and this remove card will be for this delete card event. And this on drag and on drag enter will be for moving our uh, card from one board to another board. And update card is when a user will click on any card, and whenever user will change any um, information for this card or task, like you can see that is in RT, so you can see that it is reflecting RT. So for that purpose I am using this update card function. We will see all these function logic which is existing dashboard parent component, which I will calling from chart component. We will discuss this later. First I am going on board, which is has the board information. Like board information is like a title, how many cards and other information. So for showing these cards, so I am going to in board class, board component. So board component also has a folder. This is showing the board, and also same it has a CSS which has different styling related to these cards and board. And when the card will be increased, like in I already shown in the demo, when card will increase, so it will show the um, overflow. Why auto mean it will show the vertical scroll. I already showing the horizontal scroll because it will show as many as columns or board for this project. Okay, now we will show the board component. Board component will show this board. So we will show it is showing a title and also total number of cards. Like these are I have 2 cards, so you can see that it is showing the count, and also it is showing the drop down. So for that purpose I already have a component name as drop down, which exists in this folder. So what I am doing that I am using a more horizontal icon. Same it is from feather library, React feather library. Okay, when I am showing this on top of our card, so what I am doing that when user will click on this button, so it will set show dropdown true. When the value is true, so it will show the drop down. Like this is a drop down, and this drop down has a different paragraph tags. Like when we are going to open this drop down, So what I am doing that I am getting the prop childs. So like in this case like I am showing a p tag, like I am showing other. You can see that you can add as many as p, which is like a list or the option of the menu. Like you can see that when I am going to save it, it is sending these information as a child. So it is showing the children here. So we can also use div lir information. So it will getting these children and showing here in the div. So you can see that it is showing all these um, delete board options. So when there will be a many option here, so it will show the scroll. Like you can see that it is showing the custom scroll, and also it is showing the logic. Like I can showing this when I am going to drop down option, so it is setting the maximum height. So after this height it will show the auto flow. I mean to say it will show the vertical scroll. Like we can also see it here. You can see that when the height will exceed, so it will show the vertical scroll. So this is all about this component. Its name is dropdown. So when user will click on this button, so it will show it. So if user will click on this button, so it will not hide. When user will click here, so it will hide. So for that purpose I write this logic. Whenever a user click on anywhere of the screen, like anywhere of the document, so it will check that if uh, target and this drop down reference, which is pointing to the reference of current drop down, if it's same, so it will not close the screen, otherwise it will close the screen, or you can see that say that it will hide the drop down. So this on close will call, and you can see that this on close will call, and it will set drawdown as false, so these information will not show. Also when the component will unmount, so it will remove this click method, which otherwise whenever user will click anywhere, so it will call this event. Okay, so come back to the board. We are discussing this board. So when user will click on delete board, so it will call remove board logic. So now we will see the remove board logic. It is sending the board id. Whenever we will call this board component from our home or dashboard, so we are sending the whole board which has a id also. So whenever I am sending this board from item, so you can see that using this board. So using this board, I am getting the ID of this board, talking about this board. So we require this ID for delete this board. You can see that each board, like this is a board discover, in review complete, all these board has their own unique ID, which I already discussed that for all of these uh, records, um, wherever I need of ID, so I am using the same logic. I am using the getting the current time, and also I am using a random of 0 to 1. Okay, I require this ID for delete this record. So what I am doing that I am calling this remove board, which is getting as a prop. You can see that it is getting as a prop which exists in our home or dashboard page. So it exists as a remove board. It is a remove board logic. So I am doing that. I am getting the board ID, like in this case the ID is uh, index is 0. So instead of deleting this, I am just going to delete this 1 2 3, and also I am making another board as 3 to 1. So what I am going to delete doing that I am going to delete this board name as 1 2 3. So I will send the ID of this board, like you can see that I am sending the board ID, and after that I am using this ID, I am getting the index of this board. Like in this case, if I am going to delete this 1 2 3, so the index is 4. I require this index for splice or delete this index. So I already discussed add board logic. For that purpose I am um, using a temporary list. After deleting I am updating the board state. Same for the delete. After the splice I am updating my board. So this is logic about delete, that it will check that this ID is match with which regard. Like if I will click on this delete button, so the ID will be sending as this ID. So after the execution of this find index, it will get the index which is a 4. So it will delete this 4 index. So you can see that 4 index is deleted, and this uh, board is the place of 4 index. Okay, now again go to cart board, and we already discussed remove board logic. And after showing the drop down, I am showing the cards. So each board has different cards, like you can see that this is a board. So each board has different cards, like this board has a two cards, 0 and 1. So loop will run for the 2 time. It will doing for all these cards the same logic. So it will show the card, and also it is showing the custom input um, component, which will help to add a new card, which I already explained in add board. So when we click on add card, so whenever I will enter any name like TY56, so it will add a new card. So what I am doing that whenever user will enter any information in this component and click on submit, which I already explained before, that when user will click on this submit button, whatever text it will have in this input text, so it will send to add card, and also it will send the board ID, because uh, how we can know that where we need to add the card, so we require the board ID. Like if I am adding in this board, so we require its ID. So if you have any doubt about ID, so we can also display the ID, like you can see that these are the IDs of each board, which is the time and also has randomness of 0 to 1. So whenever we will perform any action, so we need to send this um, ID. Same for each card, we have a unique ID. We'll discuss it later. Okay, I am going to delete it. Okay, and we are discussing about this add card. It is sending the board ID and the value. So when we go to this add card, so this add card is also a prop which is sending from our dashboard parent component. So you can see that it has a add handler, and also see it has a add card prop is referring to add card handler. So what I am doing here, that I am using the same logic which I am using to add a board, which I already explained earlier. So what I am doing, that I am getting the name and the board ID. Like I already shown the ID, like ID is like we can say that 53. So when I click on add card, and when we type like HJK, and when I will click on this, so it will send the title text as a HJK, and also send the board ID, like you can see that 53. So it will get the 53 ID, and it will check that this 53 board ID exists on which index. Same for a board, like I already explained that if I am going to delete this board, so it will check this ID is on which index, like it's on 2 index. Same for the card logic, like it has a 2 card. If I am going to delete this card, so it will matching that this ID is on which index, like in this case it's on 1 index. So it will getting the index of this record, and check that if this record don't exist, so it will return. Otherwise it will add this new record which has the text, like if I added that text as HJK, so it will add HJK text, and also it will add a unique ID of card, this ID, and also it is adding the title, and it will set the label, and other information is empty. So that logic is same for board. We added card information as empty array. Same for this, we will fill these information later, so that's why we are setting this as a empty. We are only setting title and only setting its ID. So we are also using same logic. We are using a temporary list. We are adding in this new record in this temporary list. After that we are updating our set board state. Okay, this logic is same for remove card. This is a remove card logic. So first we will discuss remove card logic. For remove card logic, I have a same button, like if I will go to delete this AART. So for this purpose I have a delete card drop down. So you can see that, is it has a remove card logic, and it is sending the board ID and ID. So you can see that it is checking the board ID, and after that if board ID is not exist, so it will return. Otherwise it will get that board cards. It will get all the card of this board, like in this case it will get all these three uh, array elements. So but it will be doing that. After that it will check the ID of this card, like if I will go to delete this card ID, so it will check their ID from it. So instead that I am opening this card, so you can see that AART has this ID, so it will send this ID and using this id it will match its array index. So in this case is array index is 1. So what it will be doing, that it will splash or delete this index, and after that it is updating the board. Like I'm going to delete it, so you can see that it is deleted that card. You can see that it's deleted that index card. Okay, now I am going to again discuss our card component. Delete card is already discussed, also drop down is discussed, and I am showing the title. You can see that I am showing the title for each card, and also I am showing this align left icon using the feather React feather library, and I am using this icon to showing the description using the title, or you can say that caption functionality of HTML. So it will show the description of any task. Like I am going to add any description like as description 1 2 3, and when I am going to put cursor on it, so it is showing the description. So that's why I am using this title. Okay, and also I am showing the date, and also for date formatting I have a helper class. Helper class has a name as a util, so this function exists in util. So it is getting the name of the month. So you can see that it is showing the month name. For that purpose I am using this format date function, and it is appending the date and the month. You can see that it is appending the date and the month. So I am going to again come in the card component, and in the end I am showing the total number of tasks. Like in this case we have a 3 tasks and all are completed. I am talking about these tasks, all these are completed, so that's why it's 3 out of 3. So I am using this logic that I am getting how many tasks are completed. If we have a 2 tasks are completed, so length will be a 2, so it will show 2 slash total number of tasks. So these tasks existing, like, and I am going to open the task number 1. Like this is a card number 1 which has a different task. Like it has a 3 tasks, you can see that, and how many are completed, 1 2 3, 3 are completed, so it will be a 3 out of 3. Like I am going to change it as a 2 out of 3. So what it will be do that it will change the status of 2 is the true and 1 is a false. So it will get all the true, and number of true records is 2, so it will show the 2 slash a length. So this is all about the card. Okay, now we check that is anything left on this component. Okay, so this is about the labels. You can see that these are the labels, like it's urgent, not. When we click on it, and we are adding another label as easy, and it for these chips, these labels are called chips. So for these chips I am using a generic component, like this case it is not showing the cross for the home page, but for this task management it is showing the cross. So I am using a chip component for that purpose as a generic logic. So what I am doing that I am adding a new label. So what it is doing that it is adding two labels, like you can see that urgent and easy, and setting their color. So this array will show for two time, but how I am showing this chip on UI. So for that purpose I am going to open this chip component which is existing common and chip.tx. So what I am doing that I am just setting its background color which is getting from this local storage, like in this case it is getting this. So I am setting this color as a prop, and the text color will always be a white. You can see that. And also some of the cases I need to show this grass icon. I already explained I am using React Feather for this purpose. And when user will click, so this chip will delete, like you can see that. So for that purpose I am just setting its event on click. So when user will click on it, so it will call the parent event of a remove label. So I am using this logic that if a remove label is sending as a prop, so showing this cross button, otherwise not show it. So you can see that for card I am not sending a remove label, so in this case it is not showing this cross button. Consider it is not showing cross button, but for this one I am showing this cross button. So when I go to this component and when I go to tip, you can see that in this case I am talking about this one. In this case I am sending remove label, so in this case it will show the cross button. Okay, about this card component, everything is sorted. Only these things are left for discussion, that I am using a div for these. All these cards are a normal div, but I am setting its interesting functionality name as draggable. When we set any div property as draggable, so we can drag uh, this div from one place to another, like you can see that. So I am setting this property as draggable, and also I am set its event on drag end and on drag enter. I already discussed on drag enter will call when I will uh, select this div, and when I am going to start dragging, so it will call on drag enter. And when I will drop on anywhere, so it will call on drag end, mean its functionality or its action is ended or done. So for this purpose I am sending the board ID and the card ID. I require this ID because when I am going to send this card from this board to this board, so when I will insert this card in this board, so I need to delete this card from this board and insert into that board. So that's why I require source and destination board ID and card ID. You can see that I'm sending board ID and card ID. So for this logic I am using these event on parent component. So you can see that whenever a user will drag any card, so it will call this event. So what I am doing that I am checking that if target card and card ID is same, so return it. Like in this case you can see that when I am dragging and throwing and leaving this functionality, so it will call this um, on drag and on drag enter. So no need to do any functionality, so that's why I'm returning it. Otherwise set as a target card. So what I am doing that when I will select this card, so it will set a target card state as its board ID and its card ID. So when a user will drop on another board, so what I am doing that I am getting the source board ID, source card ID, target board ID and target card ID. So for getting the target card ID, I am using uh, this set target card. So it is, sorry, this one, set target card. For that purpose I already made a new state name as set target card and target card. By default is board ID and card ID 0. So whenever user will on drag enter, so it will set its target card ID. So when user will drop any on another board, so it is getting the ID, like in this case the normal ID is source is the board ID. Like in this case when I am going to select and drop, so in this case this ID is the source and this is a target ID. So source ID will be coming from this board ID, and card ID which is sending from this div, it is sending their source board ID and card ID. After that it is getting the source board index and source card index. Same for the target board ID and target card index. Like in the simple word, when I am sending from this board to another board from this board, so the source ID will be the source board ID will be of this board and source card ID will be of this card. And same for this uh, board, target board ID will be for this board, and the target card ID will be this card ID where I am going to replace it. So when I am going to throw it, so target ID of this ID will replace with this card. So you can see that it can replace on this card. See that? So for this logic I am doing that from the source I am just removing the index. Like I am getting its index which I already discussed in local storage. It is getting the selected index with the help of ID. So it is just deleting from this index and adding in this index, but using after this card. Like you can see that it is splashing from target card index. Like target card index is like 31 task 3. So when I will again here and when I will insert it, so what it is doing that it is appending before the target card index, which is the index of this task 3. So it is appending before the card index. So source card is the card which I am getting from this. So it is getting the whole card and inserting into this temporary list, and after that I am updating the board. So that's why it is showing on this board, and after that our target card should be blank. after the setting. Okay, now I am going to discuss about this card info. Whenever user will click on any card, so it is showing the model. This is a model. For the model, I have a separate component named as card info. If show model is true, so that's why it is showing, otherwise it will not showing. So what I am doing that whenever user will click on it, user will click on the card, we click on this, so it is setting show model property as a true. I am using a state for this purpose. So when it is true, so it will show the card info. Card info is the this form. So I am going to open this card info. It's a model. So what I am doing that these all form is sending as a model component input as a child. Like when I am going to open this model, so I made this model which is getting prop children. Whatever user will insert in this uh, component, it will send it as a child. Like you can see that all of this model is sending as a child to this model as a prop.children and showing in this div which is acting as a model. So for this model I have CSS which is showing model as a fixed and also showing the background color. Consider background color is the little black with some opacity. So also other setting which is related to model pop up. Okay, now I am going to this card info which is showing this task management. So it is showing the title. Consider it is showing the title and also it is showing the custom input, which I already explained that I am showing this custom input for different purpose, like here, here and here. So when I click on it, so it will call this custom input, but I already explained that I am using for different purpose. For some purpose I need to set a set default value. Like for this card, like for this card the title is task 4, so I need to set as task 4. So that's why I am setting card values as a title. So for that purpose, when I am getting card as a input prompt for this component, so I am setting this prop as a local state because I want to change this state whenever user will type anything or change anything. So I need to change its value. Like you can see that when user will change the description, so I am just appending this description value, or you consider updating the description value. Other object element will be a same. Okay, so come back to the logic and you can see that it is sending the title as a default value. When I go to this custom input, and you can see that it is getting the default value and setting a default value as a input text, which is setting for this input. So that's why it is showing this default value. Same for this add description, same for this text. This task don't have any default value, so that's why it's not showing. Like for this purpose you can see that this task has a description, so that's why it is setting the default value. You can see that same for the description, we are sending the default value. Same for the date and the other fields, I am using the same custom input and sending the default value. Okay, Now I am going to discuss about the update of these values. Whenever user will type anything and after that click on this submit button, so I already explained that it will call this submit action. So after that it is calling the parent on submit method. Like in this case it is calling update title. So what update title is doing, that it is sending the new value which is coming from this component. Like you can say that if user type like ut11, so it is sending ut11 on for this on submit method. So ut11 will update uh, for this card which is getting by this prop. So its title will change and other values will be the same. Like you can say that if we are going to change this doing, okay, this is a title. So when I am changing its value as ut11 and when I click on hit button, so what it will be doing, that on it will preserve or don't change all other value, it will only change this title using this logic, using this append operator, or we can say that append strategy. It will append all the logic and only replace this title. Same for the description and other values. You can see that when we click on this button, so it is only changing this value and other things are the same. Okay, for the description the logic is the same. This is a custom input for the description. Okay, for calendar I am just using a simple type date controller, which is a HTML control which is showing the calendar, but I am setting that date the logic that it should be greater than current date. Like you can see that minimum date should be greater than current date, and whenever user will change the date, it will call update date method. See that is calling update date method. If date is not exist, so it will return, otherwise it will change the date. You can see that, you can see that it has a it don't have a date. If I set any date, like you can see that 18, and when I go again, you can see that it is setting the date using this logic. It is setting the new date which is coming from this parameter, and all the other values will be a same, like this logic which I already discussed for the title and description. Okay, and about the labels, it is showing all the labels which I already discussed. That suppose uh, I open any, I am opening first card and set as easy. So when I am going to open it, it is showing that it has a label of two array. So it is traversing or iterate two times and showing two chips, but in but this time it is sending the remove label because we need to show the cancel button, and when we click on it, so we can delete this uh, element of array. So for that purpose, what I am doing, that you already seen the tip control which is showing the uh, cross button and remove label exist, and when user will click on the remove label from this button, so it will call the parent handler. So when I go to parent, so this is a remove label logic, that it is sending the current label. So what I am doing, that whenever a user will click on this cross button and it is sending the text of this label, like in this case when I click on this, it is sending the easy text as a key or identifier. So what I am doing here, that it is checking that getting all the label of this card, of this card, this card. I'm talking about this card 0. This board has two card 1 and 2. So I'm talking about this card, and open this card detail. So this is exist on 0 index. So it has two labels. So it is checking that this 0 and 1 has text as a easy. If it has a text easy, then do not consider it, otherwise consider all other labels. Like if we have a 10 rows here, and it will get all the rows except easy, because I am using not is equal to operator. So I need to exempt this key which I want to delete. After that I am just setting this label for this card. So you can see that it what it will be doing, that it is replacing all these label array with this new temporary array. This is, you can see that it's called, it's a temporary array which will replace with this um card, and other values will be a same for this card. Like these are the other values which will be like a same, only this label array will be a replace. Okay. Okay, now we will see anything left. Okay, for setting the color of these labels or tags, I need this plate of colors, you can say that. So for that purpose I have a util class where I define some of random colors which is showing here. So what I am doing, that I am showing all these color as a li form, and also I am setting some setting styling, like you can see that. mm, Oops, my bad, it should be a only index. And also I am setting its background color, what I will getting from local storage. So sorry, instead of local storage I am getting it from this color list which I already shown in util. So it is showing its color as a background when user will click on any color, like in this case. So it is setting this li active class. So also when I click on set color, so it will setting in this state because I want to use it for this add label. Whenever user will add a new label, like when I will click on this add label, so I need to get this color and insert into this label array. I require a color. You can see that I am sending a text and color. That's why I am using this set color state. And about this styling, I am using, I already said that for each of component I am using a separate CSS. You can see that I am using this styling for this color plate, that it is showing border radius as 50 to show this color as a circle. Like if I am going to switch it as 0, so you can see that it's showing plate as a square. So I am going to switch back to a 50 for a circle. And when user will click on any color, so its setting will be a border of 2, and also it will show the yellow shadow. Okay, for the label I am using a same custom input. Like you can see that it's same custom input. Whatever user will type, like heart, so it will send this heart as a parameter, and also whatever user will select it in this state, it is sending this color. So when we go to this add label, so what I am doing, that I am just getting this label, and also I am checking that if this label already exists, then return. Otherwise, add this label in this card labels property. Like if I will click on this add, so it will add here. You can see that it is getting all the old labels as a spread or append pattern. So all the old array will append a 0, 1, and second is the label. So it will append it, and also for the label I am getting two properties. You can check it, that it is getting color and string, which is getting from here, that is getting color and a label. And when I click on it, and you can see that it's added a new color as a heart. See that it append this new label with old labels array. Okay, okay, now come to the task. So task is similar like cards, like, and same like labels. Task has their own array. In this case, it is showing 3 tasks using this array. It will show 3 tasks. It will show its name, like its name, and also it is showing checkbox. Like you can see that it is showing its name and also showing its task, and using these two paths it is checking and unchecking this checkbox. You can see that. And also for the task we are going to showing the progress. Like you can see that it is showing the progress of the task. Like if we have a like I am going to delete it. In this case we have two tasks. If I will uncheck it, then 50% tasks are done. So if I will uncheck, 0% tasks done. So I am showing this progress bar using this logic. It has a outer div which is showing this bar, which is a white bar showing a gray border. Like you can see that it is showing the gray border, 1 pixel, and its radius is 30 pixel. You can see that, and this div has a inner div which is showing this bar. When we click on it, so it will turn to 100% and the color will the change. So for this div I am using its width as a input. Like if I set width as like 10%, you can see that it's setting its width as a 10% and its color will be a live its color will be a simple one. Like you can see that its color will be a sky blue, default one. And if the progress will be 100%, then its color will be a lime green. Like in this case you can see that color will be a lime green if the progress is 100%. So for calculation of this percentage, instead of calling function for two times, I make a variable name as calculated percentage, and I am calling this calculate percent. So what I am doing that I am checking that for like for this purpose I am unchecking it, and when I am going to first card and its task, so one task is done and one is not done. So the percentage is like 1 divided by 2 into 100, so it will be a 50%. So this is a case for each type of task. I am going to calculate a percentage to show this progress bar. And also for deleting this task I am using remove task, and whenever user will check or uncheck, so I am just going to use update task method. It will send the item ID and also its status. So first we are going to show this update task. So what I am doing that I am getting the index of dat ID which we need to update. Like if I click on this button, this case ID will be this one. So it will send this ID to this filter index um, arrow function, and it will get the index of it. Like in this case the index is 1. So what it will be doing, what I am doing that I am getting this index task. Like I am getting this whole array, and after that I am setting this dot complete key value as a completed or true. If I am getting a true, if I am getting false, so I am replacing as false. After that I am replacing this new task with our uh, card which is holding current card. Like I am talking, if I click on this card, so I am talking about this card, so it will replace for this card. Like I am talking about this 0. card, so it will replace its latest task status. And whenever user will complete any task and click on tick, and this value will be a true, so in this case it class will be a completed. In this case it will show the this decoration line through. You can see that. Okay, add task is the same one, same component, which is getting the task name, and whatever the task name, like I am setting as task 11. When click on add button, so I am just sending this text to this function. I am making a new task, and this is the interface of that task. I am doing the same logic like a bold and card creation. I am making a new random ID, and by default setting its value as a completed value as a false, and setting its sex, like in this case task 11 is the new task ID. And after that I am getting all the old tasks and appending a new task, like in this case the old tasks are these two one, and appending this new task in it. And this is a remove task logic. For that purpose I made a trash icon, and when user will click on remove task, I am sending item ID. So what I am doing, that I am getting its um all tasks expect this ID. So I am filtering that, getting all the task, like if I am going to add it, and when I click on it, so I am saying that get all the tasks expect of this, using this not resist operator. So I am getting all others, so I am updating these temporary tasks variable with the card values, so it will replace uh, the new task. Okay, now I hope card info component every logic is discussed, nothing left. And whenever any thing will be changed, I am using this state, like this state name as card values. So each time when user will change anything, so this state will change. So for that purpose I am using a use effect, and it will dependent on this card value. Each time this card value will change, so this update card method will update. It is sending the board ID, its card ID, and card whole card values. Like in this case this is the whole card, this is the whole card, this is the whole card, like 0. Okay, I am going to discuss this update card. When we go to this dashboard, it has a update card. This is the update card, so it is getting board ID, card ID, and the whole card. So what I am doing, that I am first checking that is our board ID is valid or not. I am checking that is its board index is less than 0. That's its mean its board ID is not valid, so return, send return. Otherwise for the same like the logic, I am getting a temporary board list, and after that I am checking that its board, checking that how many cards for any board. Like I am sending this board index, like if I am sending ID of this board, so I am getting these two cards in these cards. So I am getting all these cards, and after that I am just finding the index of that uh, mm, array element which is getting from this card index. So like you can say that if I open this card, so I am talking about this 0 index. So what I am doing, that I am just getting this index, card index, which is 0. So I am replacing all this 0 index information with this new one, all this information with this new card, uh, which I am getting as an input from this card info. Mean whenever user will change anything, so this state will also update using this function. It will update the information. I think everything is clear and nothing left. Yes, everything is completed, and I discuss about all the components, our whole project, and about this layout and background. I am just using a dashboard CSS, where I am just adding this source image which exists in asset, and for this heading and background and this title I am just adding some information, like it is showing different information. This is showing as a app neighbor. Okay, this is all about my project. I hope you like my effort and my project. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.